Lionel Messi has finally won the World Cup and has finally completed the set of the trophies that he needs. Let's break it down. Let's talk about this game and just how we got here. All right, let's start looking at the tactics first of all. This is the team that kind of started. I'm going to move some stuff around, show you who played the bulk of the minutes, stuff like that. But first of all, let's talk about this man right here, Ousmane Dembele. He was absolutely shocking. So as you can see where I've highlighted, this was kind of the key to the game, really. It was where the game was won and lost, and especially early on, Di Maria was out playing over here. Jules Koundé just could not defend him, and then even Dembele, let's not do that. Even Dembele ended up back here, and that's what caused the first goal on the penalty. Dembele was massively out of position, massively out of the game. And if we take a look at SofaScore, just by this one right here, Ousmane Dembele 5.6. Played 41 minutes before he was subbed off, 17 touches of the ball. Obviously, gave away the penalty, had one attempted dribble, which was unsuccessful. He lost possession 7 times, and then obviously had the foul that led to the penalty. He ended up being replaced fairly quickly, and they brought on Kolo Muani, and as well as Giroud was also replaced because he was pretty poor in the end. I mean, going back to the SofaScore ratings, Olivier Giroud 6.9. Obviously earned himself a yellow card while not on the pitch, but he just had no involvement. I thought he was going to be the biggest key to this game for France, and he was terrible. Just could not get anything sorted for him, and it ended up being a very poor performance from him. Everybody was expecting a lot more from him, and really didn't perform today, and was again subbed off after 41 minutes in a World Cup final. That's just not acceptable. So Di Maria stayed on, but was eventually subbed off. Koundé stayed on. They brought in Kolo Muani, as I mentioned. These two kind of played interchangeably. Mbappe ended up kind of playing through the middle for the most part. Kolo Muani was fantastic when he came on, and Lilian Thuram. They all rotated through. But this was kind of the way they played for the most of the game in the end. And then about the 64th minute, Angel Di Maria was brought off and was replaced by Acuna, which was a slightly puzzling decision. I get it, you are behind, but substituting arguably your best attacking player in the first 64 minutes until he got subbed off was a little bit of a bold move, and it kind of paid off. They were looking to go more defensive, and Acuna, instead of kind of challenging Koundé as Di Maria did so well, he ended up playing back here, and that just invited pressure, meant Thuram could go through, Mbappe could come through, Kolo Muani could come through, and even players like Tchouaméni. Griezmann was pretty poor, to be fair. You go back to SofaScore, he ended up with a rating of 7.1 and was eventually brought off. He definitely could have had a worse game. Obviously, didn't do terribly, but really didn't create too much for him and the rest of his team, and that was kind of a shame, especially with how good he's been playing this tournament. Big changes, however, came around the 71st minute with Kingsley Coman and Eduardo Camavinga coming on for Theo Hernandez and Antoine Griezmann, who I said at the start was pretty poor, and Kingsley Coman came in and made a difference right away, was really kind of playing through those channels, forcing Enzo Fernandez to do a bit more defending. De Paul was kind of on ropes. Molina wasn't a big factor again, and I think that those subs were fantastic from Didier Deschamps. Really helped France get back in the game. And that man right there, Kylian Mbappe, ended up being the difference, and with 3 goals, kept them in this game time and time again. 3 goals for the young man, and a hat-trick in a World Cup final is not easy by any stretch of the imagination, let alone to keep your side and drag your team and keep them in the game continuously. And you've got to give your fair share of props to Mbappe just for getting France to the point where they could even challenge for the game. So next, it was Fofana coming on for Rabiot and Montiel coming on for Molina. Molino had an okay game, was kind of everywhere, but ended up doing enough. And Fofana was pretty poor in the semi-finals, however, looked pretty good in the end as we approached the end of this game. But the biggest difference, I think, in this extra time period was Deo Upamecano made some fantastic tackles. Obviously, the goal went in, and that was unfortunate for France. Ended up being a bit of a tap-in after Julian Alvarez creating again. Alvarez didn't get a goal, but it felt like he kind of deserved it. He was here, there, and everywhere, and he was fantastic yet again for Argentina. I referenced him briefly earlier. I want to talk about Kylian Mbappe and just his dominance in this game. He was fantastic. 3 goals. One being a penalty, kind of not what you want to see from Mbappe, penalty goals, whatever. But the second goal was absolutely brilliant. Ball came to him at the edge of the box, sliced it in. You couldn't ask for much more, and then he did the job in extra time, got his team back into the game to send it to extra time, then scored in extra time to take us to penalties. It was just fantastic. Right, finally, let's talk keepers. Emiliano Martinez I've talked about it ad nauseum. I mean, he's just been fantastic. Villa have a fantastic goalkeeper, and he comes up big in the shootout yet again with Argentina winning 4-2. He was fantastic. He kept them in the game. Although he concedes 3, it doesn't look great on paper. The shootout is what matters at the end of the day. He did his job, and his opposite number, Hugo Lloris, absolutely abysmal from him. Penalties aren't his strong suit, but it felt like he should have saved almost all 4. The first 3 for certain should have been saved from Hugo Lloris. He should do better on at least one of them, let alone a couple. And he just wasn't up to snuff, and Leo Messi will lift his first ever World Cup trophy, completing his legacy. And I mean, he had a fantastic game, was here, there, and everywhere. Scored a brace, not the best brace, not the brace that Leo Messi is so well known for. It was a penalty and a tap in, but nonetheless, you have to score those goals. A goal is a goal at the end of the day, and Lionel Messi guides his team to the World Cup glory, and I feel great for him. I feel so happy for him to finally complete this saga. Is he the best player of all time? That's up to you to decide. That's not my call. That's not really anyone's call. I don't think a World Cup trophy can change your opinion. But nonetheless, what a game, what a final, and one of the best finals I think I've ever watched.